In sociology, there's a guy called Parsons, and he talked about how society is kind of like a human body, in the sense that you got the lungs, you got the heart, you got all your organs that's keeping you alive and stopping you from dying. And he says that in society, we have institutions like the government or the economy or the family, for example, that stop society from dying and keep it functioning. And he basically said if one of these things died, then society is over, flat out, and we won't be able to cope without any of these things. And that's my whole thing for the day. When the film begins, Jack represents all the common norms and the values held by Western society. He's the head of a white, middle-class family. He's gone out of his way to get a job to provide for his wife and kid, and he's actively making an effort to fix his drinking problem so he could be a better father.
And he didn't? And he hasn't had any alcohol in 5 months?
He's integral, part of the never-ending machine. He has his place, but that changes all too soon. When many people talk about The Shining, or the hotel specifically, they say it's a character in its own right, or it's a person, or something to that vein. But honestly, I just wanted to say I disagree with that. I'd go as far to say it's a country, it's its own civilization in the context of the film. Once Jack and his family enter the hotel, they're separating themselves from the society completely. They're going on into their own new world and setting their own norms, their own values, their new everything. It's something new, it's something different from what they experienced before, and that's probably the driving force of this entire movie. But here's the problem: instead of there being a government built up of multiple people and an entire society deciding what laws there are, there's just Jack. One man dictating what everyone's place is, and this causes the film to ask, why we demand silence?
We're gonna make a new rule. Whenever I'm in here, you hear me typing. Whether you don't hear me typing, whether the fuck you hear me doing in here, when I'm in here, that means that I am working. That means don't come in. How do you think you can handle that?
Despite having society's goals of wealth and success, the economic income being provided by the hotel, and the family comfort literally being locked in the house with him, the fault of one institution causes Jack's breakdown. From my perspective, the film's aim is to take a look into what breaking away from social institutions and completely isolating yourself from the world you are once a part of can really do to a person.
Have you ever thought for a single solitary moment about my responsibilities to my employers?
Jacks are there to represent the differences, or in actuality, similarities between an individual isolating themselves compared to a social institution. Both have a potential to have a disastrous effect on many different levels, sometimes even sparking change within the overall society. Parsons stated with his equilibrium theory that change is necessary and often a good thing in order for society to progress. However, if it moves too fast or shifts too suddenly, the effect on society can only be disruption. Jack begins turning homicidal when it's suggested they all go back to society in order to aid Danny.
You believe his health might be at stake. You are concerned about him. And are you concerned about me?
This, in theory, could have and would have been when the other social institutions step in and fix the faults that have begun appearing in Jack. However, believe there is no problem at hand. Jack insists that they remain, showing the no point of return for Jack and all his functions. The change in Jack from a middle-class family man that he's supposed to be to a homicidal villain
Here's Johnny.
represents the psychological damage isolation does to a person, with the only option for Jack to die in order for the madness to end. On a large scale, it represents the idea that sudden change of a social institution, in this case being integration, can completely change what society has and damages it permanently. From the beginning of the movie, this is foreshadowed as the murders of the previous caretakers brought up to Jack before he agrees to stay.
Killed his family with an axe.
Showing that while Jack's inevitable death at the end of the movie brings closer to the chaos he's caused, his country, the hotel, will ever have to pay for the prices of his crimes. To finish off the quote from the beginning, admitting loneliness attacks our basic instinct to save face and makes it hard to ask for help. You could almost say it's ironic how one of our basic necessities as people and as a society is to work as a team, a system. However, we're made to feel like failures if we admit that's an issue. The film suggests it only causes more failures, breaking the social flow and, more importantly, the individual people.